Hey guys, Justin here. Now, this video is going to be, it's basically going to be me pretty much just saying, I don't really want another, a big campaign in this game to come out at this point. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is, people are saying, there's a bit of hype coming around. I know Quadra made a video where he suggested about the free campaigns. He was basically going on that, oh, it's going to be Stalingrad, and he was, he mentioned Guadalcanal, which I actually suggested to him as well. I actually suggested to him that, hey, it could be Guadalcanal, because turning point of the war, that was Guadalcanal, in terms of, land invasion, because that was the first major US offensive in the Pacific. But the problem I have with Stalingrad, just even with Guadalcanal in general, is I think they should improve the game as is, and make it great, and then make this huge make it so that, they finish off these campaigns, and then they release something like Guadalcanal, or release Guadalcanal and Stalingrad as in the same update after finishing off these campaigns. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, in Moscow there's still quite a bit of stuff missing. I know, especially for the Allies, I know, for example, the KV-1 and the T-34 missing. There's probably stuff like that missing. I'm not going to mention much on Moscow, because Moscow's pretty good as is. But in Berlin, if you look at some of the weapons that are missing, well, not really the weapons, but the vehicles that are missing, you're still missing the IS-2 and the King Tiger. You're probably still missing the Elephant. The Elephant was in, and the ISU-152. Those are missing in Berlin. Normandy is missing quite a lot of stuff at the moment. They're missing the M1919. The M1919 is gone. That was in Normandy. There's also, of course, which I've been mentioned, the Johnson LMG, which is probably going to be the Allies' counter to the FG-42, and if they add the FG-42 too, they probably are going to add the Johnson to counter it. As well as that, in the vehicle department, there's no 76 Sherman, there's no Easy-8, there's no 105 Sherman, there's no Jackson, there's no Tiger. The Stug is locked. The Stug is locked behind a paywall. And, there's no, there's no close-range LMG for the Axis. They're missing quite a lot of weapons. Tunisia as well, there's no, the best tank they have is a Panzer III for the Axis. And the Allies have, they have the Crusader and the Grad, but they don't have the Churchill, they don't have the Matilda, they don't have maybe not the Sherman, but they don't have the Churchill or the Matilda. The Axis are missing. Don't think they're missing any Italian tanks, but they could have a Panzer IV maybe, a version of the Panzer IV that's not in other campaigns. Maybe the same thing with a Panzer III. So maybe they bring in the Panzer IV, but they also bring in the the Churchill III, which is in the game, by the way. The Churchill III is in the game, but it's in Normandy. They're missing stuff like the Lewis. The Lewis is in fucking... the Lewis is in Moscow, and it's not in, it's not in Tunisia. Now, I know I'm harping on the same points I've made in other videos, but, just... They need to add these aren't some, these aren't some, low weapons, which weren't in the game before. Aren't in the game, so they had to make new models. These are stuff that are in the game, and, will be huge improvements to the game. And I think, people would rather have 4 well-polished campaigns, I would rather have these 4 well-polished, these campaigns well-polished, lots of content in them, lots of new maps. If the next update is just, we're going to add in, 10 campaign get all of these campaigns to level 40, add in, I don't know, 10 new maps to each campaign, that would be incredible. But obviously that's probably not going to happen. That's just wishful thinking, you know. But you know, it's the problem is, they're just, oh, you know, the maps, there's not much maps. Like, look at Tunisia, for example. I'm just going to go in Tunisia. Look at how many maps are on just Tunisia. You've got El Har, Algebra Farm, Fortress, Gorge, and Oasis. Right? That's just, compare this, look at Berlin. They've got Ministry Garden, Hermann-Gordonstrasse, Königs Plaza, Kroll, Moat, which is basically just Kroll reverse, Silo Station, Bramhof, and then Wilhelmstrasse. Now, I do know that Königs Plaza and Kroll and Moat are basically the same map, just different directions. But Ministry Garden, Hermann-Gordonstrasse, Silo, Bramhof, and Wilhelmstrasse are all unique maps. And, really you can say these two are probably that Königs Plaza is basically the same, is slightly different to Kroll. So, that's about 8 maps. And it's been out for a couple months earlier. Look at Normandy. It's got Airfield, D-Day, Le Brie, Versailles, Omir, and Saint-Lô, right? And Ruins of Arcs. I forgot Ruins. That's a lot more maps. And the thing is, as well, they have quite a few, you look at the Conquest maps as well, there's a lot more Conquest maps. Like, look at, obviously Conquest is not everyone's most liked campaign, game mode. But, Al Har is, the only map mode for Tunisia. Like, and meanwhile, when it comes to the new campaign, when it comes to, new content, most of the time they're just adding in destruction. Who cares about destruction? Silo, don't get me wrong, I love Silo. And I would love to see Silo, a version of this map on all of the campaigns. Especially on Moscow and Tunisia. I think those would probably be some of the coolest maps in the game. But the problem is that just there's a lack of I would say some of these maps, they get boring over time. I don't know how people main, what's it called? Tunisia. It's just the same 5 maps over and over again. And that's the problem. They need to add more maps. They need to add more content to the game. And if they add a new campaign now, it's just going to split the fan base, because you're going to have people... The fan base is already split between, people playing mainly in Moscow, people mainly in Normandy, people mainly in Berlin, people mainly in Tunisia. People like me who go on multiple campaigns are more of the exception, not the rule. And new players are going to basically just play a new campaign constantly, especially free-to-play players. They're going to play a new campaign and they're going to stick with that campaign because, really, even with the Silver Order change, you're going to be restricted to one campaign, more or less. And, until you reach about level 20, and then you might branch out to the other side of this campaign. Or you might go to another. You might check out, Berlin. You might check out Moscow. You might check out Tunisia. But yeah, I'm just gonna end the video here. Actually, I think that's all I have to say. This if they do add a new campaign, it's probably gonna split the fan base even more, and it's gonna result in the Tunisia Axis experience of, hey, there's about 50 bots on the other team. Literally, because not many people play Tunisia Axis. Now, there is a fix I think they could do to do this, which is kind of like a weekly event, in a way, for campaigns that are not played as often. I know Joey mentioned this in one of his, in a post he made, I think it was a couple months back. Joey mentioned this. He said that as a suggestion, you should go to, there should be something like, I'm just going to use the Dark Souls 2 as a reference point, but in Dark Souls 2 there's a yearly event called Return to Dran Lake, where people it's an unofficial event where people go to, they go back and start playing Dark Souls 2 for, just level up Dark Souls 2 and, just have fun with it. And obviously it was helped by Moist Critical's video on Dark Souls 2, but, which came out around the same time as Return to Dread Late. But I think we should do one with, maybe do one of these events with Tunisia, have like, or the devs use Joey's idea and basically have, double XP weeks for, like, underplayed factions, like Tunisia Axis. It might incentivize people to play Tunisia Axis, to be honest. But yeah, those are my ideas. I genuinely think that, this game's great, but the problem is that it doesn't have much staying power. Like, people, I've played, 200 hours in the game? 8 days on the game? And, it's having, like, there's less of a staying power for me because I'm basically going into the I'm mostly playing Berlin nowadays because it feels fresh now. But, when the, compared to, I was just going to say, if they add, like, 5 levels onto Normandy, and these are pretty good levels, like the Bazooka, M10, Thompson, Faust, Panther, and ME43 update, MP43 update, if they add stuff like that, those are kind of updates to Normandy, but, maybe double the levels and keep the consistency of that level or those levels. I think that could be pretty good for the game, but at the moment, not really much is happening. There's not really much to get excited for. When the MP43 and the Thompson were the best thing you could unlock for Normandy, people would grind them out because, they're big iconic weapons. But when it's something like, a Car 98K again, people aren't going to be excited on that. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.